First of all, I wanted to thank all of you guys that, all of you new supporters, those of you who have subscribed since we last put a video out, and for all your comments of encouragement. It means the world to us.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to thank you, and thank you for taking an interest. Thank you for clicking on the video and coming on board. And we have Nelson and Jeremiah, and then Caleb and Joshua. Hi, Joshua.
Hi.
He's the cowboy. He got a new hat yesterday, and
He's officially the cowboy in the family.
The official cowboy. You the official cowboy? Yeah, I know you are. You got a new hat yesterday and you haven't let go of it, have you? You even slept with it.
I put it on the dresser.
So you put it on the dresser to sleep? All right, so sun's going down. That helps a little bit.
And Norbert just woke up.
Oh, we can't forget Norbert.
Nope, we can't.
Norbert, he's what, 5 months old?
6.
6 months old. Nelson is 8.5. Jerry is 7. Caleb, where are you? Come on up here. We want to see you.
Can we see your face?
Can we see your face? Can you put your hoodie down? There you go. You got a nice new haircut. You cold? You cold? You got a haircut too? Yes, you do.
You're the one that likes to talk.
Yeah.
Not me.
All right. Well, I want to say a very warm welcome back, and thank you for tuning in. Sue and I have been wanting to make this video for a while, kind of as an official introduction. So it's late at night, and the boys are off to bed, and it's about our bedtime.
Past.
Past?
Mm-hmm.
A little
It's
past. Okay. I want to say a very special welcome and thank you to all of you new subscribers that came over from the interview I had with Josh. Y'all's comments were a huge blessing to us. It was
fun to go through them.
That was huge for us to, as a new channel here, to have that many new subscribers in 1 week, and then all of y'all's comments. Like that was huge. It was like, wow, can we really get to the point where this is normal? That kind of social interaction. We love that, making new friends, and we're very excited to get to know y'all a little bit more as we can, as we find the time to post more videos and have interactions with you guys. So thank you for coming on and blessing us so tremendously. So we wanted to kind of do an introduction video to just, I know when I'm watching something, I like to kind of know who are these people, where are they from, and so on. Mm-hmm. So my name is Joseph Stoltzfus.
I'm Susan, and we have 5 boys.
5 boys, ranging from 6-month-old to
8 years.
I made notes so I can stay on track. I tend to run down bunny trails. So I want to stay on track with this video. Kind of in a nutshell, what I wanted to talk about in this video and show you around. We're not just going to have you look at us here on the couch. I know that gets boring. So what I did want to show you is a little bit of how we got started. Our dream was to homestead and to have a farm and to have animals for our boys. And it really wasn't that long ago. 4 years ago, we were living in a neighboring house. We did have 10 acres, but it was pretty much all woods and all hill. We had downhill to go to the garden. Mm-hmm. And super close to the road.
Road frontage, yeah.
It was terribly close to the road, and it just was not going to work for our boys. So when we settled there, we knew that was going to come up at some point. And it got to the point where we realized that it's going to be sooner rather than later. And then this neighboring acreage came up for sale, and we went with that. So we started with 15 acres here in 2019, and in 2020, this was in June of 2019, we closed on 15 acres here. In September of 2020, we closed on another 30.
Additional.
Adjoining. It was all owned by the same people. That had a large barn, livestock barn on it, newer. And in September of 2020, we also got our first milk cow. we came back from a trip to Montana, and this like all happened at once. We took this trip to Montana, and we came back, and it was kind of like, this is home, and we're putting our roots down. I remember we signed the papers for the 30 acres. We got a tractor, a first decent sized farm tractor. We still have it. Use it for the sheep. We got our first milk cow, and we got our first chickens. Well, not our first chickens, but we got chickens again.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember.
Believe it or not, we did have chickens when we lived in the camper, and not just.
Hang on, I haven't told him that we lived in a camper.
We did in the first video.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In 2019, when we settled here, we lived in a camper while we built the home, and there's more of a story to that. But let me make sure I'm on track here. So we're located in Northeast Ohio on a 45-acre homestead farm. Obviously with our boys, and our ultimate goal here is to raise as much of our own food as possible. We currently have beef, pork, chicken in the freezer that we've raised, and lamb. Of course, we have our own eggs, and we have our own milk cow. So, and we do we've done a decent amount of gardening, not near the amount we want to. And we're really hoping to ramp that up this summer.
Mm-hmm.
Gardening and canning. So, and of course our own butchering. We've done quite a bit of that this past winter. That was kind of fun.
Yeah, it was fun having more help than doing it all ourselves.
Yeah.
Like we used to.
We reached out and involved some of our friends and some of the local community, and that turned out really well and was a lot of fun.
I mean, obviously if you're doing 3 pigs in one day, you do need some help.
Yeah, we did. We did 3 pigs in one weekend, from live to ground up and in the freezer.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2021, or June of 2022, we bought 350 sheep, 350 ewes, Dorper sheep. They're a commercial flock. This is an attempt to be the farm's primary source of income. And now you're chuckling because so far it hasn't been much of an income.
It's been
quite the opposite.
A money pit.
It really has.
Unfortunately, it does take money to start anything, especially on a farm.
It does. Yeah. So, aside from that, I work as an independent contractor. I've been in construction most of my life. Since I was 14, I remember actually going out on job sites and helping Dad. I did own a roofing business for 10 years, from when I was 20 to 30, so a year and a half ago. And we sold that to be able to focus more time on the farm. And I'll touch more on that later. So let's go back to the dream a little bit. The dream was when we bought this property, was to have more room for our boys, more space, more creative outlets for our boys to be boys.
More land and not being up close to the corner.
The road was a big thing, yes.
Yeah.
So get away from the road.
Also, we wanted to live a little bit more back in, not having our house that far out by the road. I just never really liked that.
Yeah.
So
it was get away from the road, more acreage, more opportunity, obviously, and animals.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we did have animals there too.
We did, yes. We've always had animals.
We've always
since, even when it was just you and I.
We milked goats, or we had 1 or 2 milk goats, and
yeah. So I don't know. Is it just
we had turkeys and chickens and pigs, and who knows what all.
I think what it was is growing up, I always wanted odd stuff like that. Yeah. I grew up on a dairy farm, and Dad wasn't much for creative other stuff. Mm-hmm. So when I was on my own, it's like, oh, let's get this and that. And you never had a lot of creative animals and pets, so you were like, go for it.
We were both pretty well the same in that area.
Yeah. So that dream obviously came true. We found the property, and really it hit every major thing we were looking for. It's fairly flat. I don't want to say flat, but there's a lot of flatter spaces, and especially here on the home site. Ever since we were married, we always had a hill to deal with around the house, and now we have it nice and flat. So we really like that. We have lots of pasture and lots of fences that were already here when we got here. So that was a huge plus when we found this property. So really our dreams come true in a lot of ways there. Let's go back to a little bit how we started here. You'd mentioned a camper. We pulled this camper onto this property. Here we have 15 acres. We paid cash for it. We have a camper that's paid for, and we thought we were going to live the off-grid
Off-grid dream.
the off-grid dream.
And out of debt.
Out of debt, yes.
That was the two main priorities.
Yeah. So we pulled this camper on here, and guys, we sold our other house where we were at so we could get the equity out of that to buy this out of debt. So now we have 15 acres. Yes, it's paid for, but there's no utilities.
We have nothing, just a camper.
Yeah, we have a camper and a property that's paid for, and no utilities, and no parents in our life to give us some guidance. It's like, hey, spend a little bit of money to get power out there and to get water, a well.
Yeah.
Those two. And we really could have survived, and our experience here would have probably been a lot better.
It would have been a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, I think so. We got burned out because here we sat all of a sudden with, and the reason we took the plunge like that was we were renting. And guys, we've never rented in our lives.
We've never done
We
that.
rented for 3 months and we thought it was killing us, paying $800 a month for rent.
Like, we can make payments with this.
We're like, we can make payments on
We'll
something.
move out of here and just go in a camper.
And we had,
if we have land.
We had what, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and you were pregnant. Like, wow, that's quite the.
We had 3 boys.
Oh yeah. So they had to have been 2, 4, and 6. No, 5, 3, and 1.
They were actually, the oldest was 4, but he turned 5 before we moved in the house.
Yeah. So, here we were, like, I mean, I look back, and then, can you believe this was 4 years ago?
No.
It's, I look back and I'm like, what on earth were we thinking? We had no running water here. A creek, that was the running water. A little creek behind the camper. We thought we had it made. Like, the trees were green, the grass was green. Here we are, voila, in the middle of nowhere, no driveway, no proper water source, and no electricity.
And
we grew up Amish, so we thought we could do it.
And no sewer, obviously.
So we brought a porta-john down. Now, one piece of information that did make a difference is I had a shop yard that also joined this property that I did have electric at. It's where I had my roofing business based out of, so I had office up there. So we put some fridges and stuff up there, and then we were just the camper was set just down the hill from the office, kind of hidden by the trees. And we're like, what could go wrong?
Yeah.
So what happened then?
Well, I went up every morning to the fridge to get food on the 4-wheeler and came down to cook breakfast. That was pretty much all I had to do all day anyway. Cook, clean, just hang out.
There wasn't much to clean.
Yeah.
Camper wasn't that big.
Right. We were outside.
But you got burned out real quick because I was gone all the time.
Yeah.
The roofing business was in a year where it was really taking off, and I barely had time to work on the property. We didn't have any money to build anything. We had some sparse amount of funds. I think we had like $10,000, and we were trying to figure out where to put it in. Like, putting the septic in would have took it all. Putting the well in would have took it all. Well, we should have just done that.
Well,
but,
at what point did you loan some money?
What I actually did first was I took that $10,000 and I bought the lumber package for the whole house. I'm like, well, we got to have a house, so we're going to just go with that first. And then what I ended up doing after that, see, banks won't normally loan you money if you're a self-build. So I ended up getting some private funds to finish the house, put the well and septic in, and get things functioning. But it took us a while to get to the point where we were like, that's what we're going to have to do. We really wanted to stay out of debt and just do what we could. But she was pregnant, and she was getting burned out fast. And you were like, this is not going to work.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering, like, what were we thinking when we took that step? Like, did we realize that was going to happen? But you don't know what you don't know. So anyway, that's a little bit on that. That all went down in 2019. Starting in June, August we started building, and we were in the house by week before Thanksgiving. It wasn't done, but we were in, and it was functioning.
We had
Functioning better than what we had been
Yeah.
functioning for sure.
Yeah.
But those months from June to November, those 5 months, that was rough.
Yeah.
It was very rough.
It was. I don't even remember what all I did with my time. Honestly, I don't.
You were just trying to get by. And I was so busy working during the day, trying to work on this in the evenings. Every once in a while, we'd bring the crews down to. I remember one day we put roof on, one day we put siding on. So things happened. Things went fast when we were here, and then we subbed out the slab and the drywall. And drywall took really long, forever.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was all in 2019. So Sue and I's life has always been busy. It's like, and a lot of changes. But as we were going through some of these notes and thinking back on the last 4 years, just the last 4 years, so many things have happened. We've actually accomplished so many things that we kind of take for granted. You know, our lives have been very busy. I mean, going from 3 to 5 boys in the last 4 years, building this homestead, getting the other 30 acres, buying the sheep, and then selling my roofing business. It's been a lot. It's been a tremendous amount of just busy, busy, busy.
Not just busy, but it feels and seems like change happens all the time.
Yeah. So as we were looking at these notes, we realized that, you know, we did really, in a lot of ways, we have reached a lot of goals and attained a lot of dreams that were only dreams 5 years ago. Like, I had no idea we'd be at where we are. So that's the good side. The downside is we have made a lot of mistakes and
Or learned the hard way.
learned the
Learned
hard
by
way.
doing
Obviously,
trial and error.
That's kind of been the story of my life. So in a nutshell, we've done a lot of crazy things, but we've also, in a lot of ways, we're also in a lot of ways living our dreams.
Yes, very, very much.
I would say the most persistent challenge that I face, and now more than ever, is the debt over my head. I don't like that. But it's a part of some of the choices we've made as far as buying that other property, and how I look at that is, you know, some days I wish we would have stayed smaller and just kept to what we need, but then I look at my boys and I realize, you know, taking on the debt so I can get those other 30 acres adjoining our property is investing into their future. You know, if we'd have waited to try to buy until they're old enough to help pay for it, it probably wouldn't be available. It would probably be twice the price we paid for it.
Yeah.
And so the interest we pay now makes up for those, and I'm investing into something for their future, is the way I see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm actually down to the last page on my notes. How about that? Have we stayed on track?
I believe so.
Better so than we have in a long time.
Yeah. Well, no kids interruptions or anything else.
You know, I think that helps. I hope
for
you
me.
guys are enjoying this storytelling, if that's what it is. Are we giving information that's interesting to other people?
I hope so.
I hope so. Yeah, me too. All right, so last part here, mistakes we made and what we learned from it. The biggest mistake that comes to my mind from I'm covering the last 4 years. The first big mistake was move into a camper without proper utilities, electric and water.
Never do that. Just don't.
Not with little kids.
No. Right.
I think if we'd have done that differently, it would have really.
Well.
Norbert woke up and he wanted to be fed, so let's go through this last part. I think if we would have had, like, if we'd have just focused on getting water and power back here,
Getting the main our living area set up where it's functionable.
that would have made a big difference in how you would have enjoyed that summer. Like, so that was first big mistake there. Well, really, the first one was move out of the rental house too soon.
Yeah.
I mean, paying the rent. We spent more money in buying a generator and gas and
Water,
all the other utilities
ice,
and stuff that
propane.
we then had to have. Right. We'd have been better off just paying rent and staying where we were. We probably would have been able to maintain a more peaceful routine in life while we were building, especially with you being pregnant.
You know, Yeah, we could have had the camper out here and just come out for, weekend.
It would have made it a lot more fun
Mhm.
for the kids to come out here once a week. But
But,
all in all, they did
you know,
have a lot of fun. They have good memories from the
yeah,
camper, more so than you.
yeah. Well, I do too, to an extent. I mean,
Yeah.
somewhat.
The other mistake I would say in the building process of the home was a scarcity mindset. So I tried to do everything myself, which was okay to some degree, but I'm not an expert in everything. And a couple mistakes. I should have had an actual architect draw things out,
Mm.
so I don't forget things.
Like we didn't even have anybody design our house. We did it ourselves.
I did everything on a piece of paper, and I had it in my head before we started building. But I missed a couple things, and one key thing being, in our washer and dryer. We had our washer and dryer in our bathroom because we had slab floor. I forgot to put a drain in for the washer, and so because we had concrete slab floor, there was no going back and remedying that. So ended up being a problem. On the farm, mistakes we made is probably the biggest mistake overall in my life so far has been trying to do too much. When I sold the roofing business in 2021, we went solely to the farm, and my intentions was we had a pretty good savings, so I was fully intending to create 100% of our income off of the farm. And we were going to do that by doing like a market stand, either at an actual farmer's market or right off the farm or both. I didn't really know. But as time got closer and spring got into summer, I saw that there was way more to it. It wasn't going to work because I didn't have the word of mouth establishment. We ended up not going to an actual farmer's market, which would have probably helped, but I really didn't feel like I had time to do that. So that's when I started looking more seriously into sheep, and we ended up going that route and getting sheep, which then, of course, tied up a lot more time getting those settled in and getting used to those.
Did you do help with hay last summer at all?
Yeah, we did. We were making hay too. We were going to make, um, I was helping my neighbor with hay, and we did first cutting off of our fields, but then second cutting, we just grazed the sheep. So again, try to do too much at once. Taking smaller bites would definitely be good advice for me and for my younger self.
For sure.
But I've learned a lot. It's also cost me a lot. I guess knowledge costs you one way or another. The other big mistake with that, in letting go of the roofing business, I also let go of my primary income. And I would just say never, I know other people have said this, but I would reinforce never ever let go of your primary income to start homesteading or farming. If you can hang on to it, then by all means do. I think our last year and a half, and even now, would probably be a little bit easier if I had. But then again, you can't have everything. With having the roofing business, a lot of my time was tied up. So in a lot of senses, I do have a lot more time freedom now. So for the here and now, what kind of mistakes am I in the middle of? Probably too many sheep. We may have to downsize.
Yes, please.
We are considering maybe going more registered so that we could keep the value there with less sheep. We'll see how that works out. One more section, goals for the rest of this year. I would say big goal is fine-tune the systems with the sheep, downsize if needed, but there's just a lot of ongoing things. As we have lambed, I see a lot more needs, things that need to be improved in systems and pens and just this and that. So I need to get that functioning so that I'm not burning unnecessary time or losing unnecessary money on it. We're going to focus a lot of time on generating income through the new business. We're starting a landscaping business is eventually what it's going to be. Right now I'm building chicken coops for a friend of mine out of the shop right here at home, which is working really nice. My backup plan is to go into landscaping. Well, that's more of a future business idea with her and the boys involved. I've been building decks and pavilions and some rustic backyard stuff on site for customers. So we'll probably spend more time with that unless the chicken coops and those small rustic structures actually stay consistent. Then I can just work from home here at the shop. But if that slacks off, then I'll have to go after some on-site jobs. And then eventually we hope to grow that business into a landscaping business to where she and the boys can help. The only she in the house. So the other big goal for this summer is raise and preserve as much of our own food as possible. Gardening, 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 gardening. And there's so much establishing that needs to happen there. All at the same time, there's tons of improvements around here that we want to make for the summer.
Not just improvements, but just finish what we started.
Yeah.
You're a you see a lot of potential, so a lot of things don't always get finished when.
Yeah, and I usually get things to functioning and then it tends to stop. So I do have a lot of things that need finished up. And yeah, just minor improvements. There's always stuff with raised beds and gardening, and it gets overwhelming, but we have to remind ourselves that it don't all have to happen today.
Yeah, and not start things we can't finish right away. Just finish what we started. Go from there.
Yeah. So that kind of wraps up. Well, not kind of. That does wrap up my notes. Did we cover what we wanted to?
I believe so.
Do you feel like we told a story worth listening? I guess y'all will have to tell us.
Yeah. We can't answer that for you guys.
In closing, I just again want to reinforce those 100-some of you who have come on board from the interview with Josh. That you guys blessed our socks off. I mean, coming in, all the comments you left, and just your engagement, guys, that blessed us tremendously. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we will keep making more videos as we find the time to do so. I have tried to do them on a schedule and stuff, and it's just I get stressed out, and then I'm trying to make content in not so good of a mind frame. So I finally said, you know what, we're going to get to the videos when we do, and I know y'all are there when we do. So thank you for your support, and keep leaving the comments, questions.
What kind of content you would like to see?
Yeah, any input y'all got is very welcome. And in the near future, we'll probably be starting some gardening here very soon. We have some more updates on the sheep that we need to make happen. Some sorting and vaccinating, and we're getting ready to start breeding for the fall lambing. So lots of stuff going on.
We haven't made our bologna yet either.
Oh, that's right. We have ground beef in the freezer from a cow that we butchered like 2 weeks ago. A whole cow. A friend of mine and I cut it all up. And we're going to make bologna. Made some last year, and it was delicious. It was gone too fast, so we're going to make 150 pounds of sandwich bologna to go on our tomato sandwiches this spring.
Like a sweet bologna.
Yeah.
Yeah, some good stuff to have.
It is.
And you're gonna smoke it?
Yeah. So we'll show that process, but we better get off of here. These guys want to go to bed. No, we want to go to bed. I had that mixed up. They might be watching me at noon.
Or midnight.
Yeah, whatever. All right.
Doesn't matter.
See you guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for your support.